show you.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wanna Play. My name is James McKenna, and right now, I'm in lockdown mode, so yeah, that's great. So what better way to pass the time than doing one of these? Right now, we're gonna be doing another walkthrough. Today is one of the most influential movies of all time, Psycho. The first black and white movie I've done so far, and so hopefully it goes good. This movie is absolutely iconic from the beginning to end. All the lines and scenes, everything spoken is incredible, awesome lines, everything. And a fun fact about Psycho is that when Hitchcock presented Universal with the idea for the movie, they said no. They didn't like it for whatever reason, they didn't like the script. So Hitchcock threw all of his own money into this. He funded this whole thing by himself. So Psycho is technically an independent movie, and that's also why it's black and white, because color movies have been the norm since like the 50s or 40s. So this would have been expected to be in color. But since it was so much cheaper, he just filmed it in black and white, and I think that it adds to the movie. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. We open up with some iconic opening credits. After that, we're in Phoenix, Arizona. We meet Marion Crane, who's cheating on her boyfriend with Sam here. After she realizes what she's doing is bad, she goes back to work. Her boss's friend Tom comes in and says,
Do you know what I do about unhappiness? I buy it off. Are you unhappy?
Marion realizes that she's not too happy with her current job, so she pockets a ton of money and then goes home faking a headache. At home, she nervously packs a suitcase while keeping the money in eyesight the entire time. Once she's done that, she drives away, but oh, she gets seen by her boss. The awesome score plays one more time. And then she pulls over to get some sleep. She gets woken up by a cop, and she answers his questions nervously and quickly, causing the cop to ask for her license. The cop lets her go, but still follows her once she starts driving. Marion realizes that her license plate might be giving her away, so she stops at a car dealership to trade in her car for a new one. But don't look now, because that cop just pulled over on the opposite end of the street to stare her down. Marion asks the dealer to go inside, but then the cop just straight up pulls into the lot. After she drives away, we get some voiceover headshots of people realizing that she stole the money. This reveals that the amount of money she stole was $40,000, and then it begins to rain. So she pulls into Bates Motel. We meet the owner of the motel, Norman Bates, and he lets her inside. He gives her the key to room 1 and then invites her to stay for dinner. Marion begins to unpack a little bit, and then she hears some arguing up at the Bates house. And after he comes back down, they begin to have their dinner. They begin a bit of small talk, and then Norman reveals that his main hobby is stuffing things. Then we get one of the most iconic lines in the whole movie.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Norman starts talking about how he wants to defy his mother, but he decides not to because of the tragic events involving his father's death and then his stepfather's death after that. They conversate some more a little bit, and then Marion says,
Wouldn't it be better if you put her someplace?
Then we get another super iconic line.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
The conversation gets eerier and eerier by the word, so eventually Marion lets herself out. We get another super iconic bit as Norman peers at her through a self-made peephole. After a little bit, he goes back up to his house to sit on his lonesome. Marion then begins to take a shower, and then we see a shadow in the background that pulls open the shower curtains and kills the final girl less than halfway through! An awesome shot follows that zooms out on Marion's face. Norman runs down from his house and sees what's happened to Marion, so he fearfully begins to clean up the mess, not knowing what will become of this homicide. After he's done cleaning, he picks up Marion's body and throws it into her trunk. He then begins to tidy up the room a little bit and notices a newspaper. Not knowing that there's $40,000 in that newspaper, he throws it in the trunk with Marion. He begins to drive away, and he goes to a swamp full of quicksand. Then, he throws the car in it, body and all. The car sinks to the bottom, and then we go to Marion's sister, Lila. She angrily asks Sam where Marion went to, and then a private investigator walks into the shop as well. He explains to the two what Marion's done, and then he goes to interrogate all the motels around. He eventually pulls up to the Bates Motel, and Norman lets him in. The investigator asks if he's seen Marion, and then he says that nobody's been there for a few weeks. The investigator asks Norman to see his sign-in sheet, but Norman still manages to lie his way out of it. After a while of interrogating, Norman says,
Let's put it this way. She might have fooled me, but she didn't fool my mother.
"Wait a minute." The investigator goes to talk to Lila on the phone and says that Marion met Norman's mother, but we didn't see that. He goes back to the motel to investigate a little bit on his own, and then he goes up to the Bates house. He walks inside and up the stairs, and then a door slowly starts to creak open. Then, oh! Someone comes out of the room and stabs him down the stairs! Oh, jeez. I mean, it looks a bit goofy, but whatever. Sam then drives up to the hotel himself, and then we get a super creepy zoom in on Norman's face. Once they get back to town, they go to the sheriff's house. They explain the situation to him, what with the stolen money and the mother, and then they call the motel. Norman answers and then says the investigator left after questioning. Then the sheriff says,
Norman Bates's mother has been dead and buried in Green Lawn Cemetery for the past 10 years.
Then we're back with Norman, who has an off-screen conversation with his mother before bringing her downstairs. Lila and Sam decide to investigate themselves, and then when they meet Norman, he very quickly and nervously writes them up room keys. They begin to suspect murder a little bit, and then they go to search all the cabins, starting with room 1. They find some suspicious things, such as no curtain on the shower. Then we get an awesome jump as Sam goes to walk up to the house, but gets stopped by Norman.
You looking for me?
Sam distracts Norman a little bit while Lila walks up to the house, and when she gets there, she walks into Mrs. Bates' creepy old room. Then Sam interrogates Norman so bad that he gets knocked out. Lila sees Norman running up to the house, so she ducks into the basement. She sees Mrs. Bates sitting in the chair, then... What just happened? Then Norman runs in a wig and dress, but then gets stopped at the very last second by Sam. We then cut to a psychiatrist who explains Norman's backstory. He says that almost immediately after Norman's first father died, her mother hooked up with a new guy. Norman felt neglected and left behind, so he went in and killed both of them. From then on, he had a split personality, him, his cute self, and his deadly raging mother. Whenever he felt an attraction to a woman, his mother would completely take over his body and killed everybody that got in her way. We officially end with a car getting pulled out of the mud. But right before that, Norman's mother delivers the creepiest monologue in film history, ending with this.
I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Oh my god. End of movie. Awards time! Hooray! First award we're gonna give out today is the scariest scene, which is the shower scene, obviously. It's just such an iconic moment with the screaming and the zoom in and the quick cuts everywhere, ending with her hand reaching out in defeat. It's such an iconic moment, one of the most iconic kills ever, and one of the scariest scenes ever in film history. Worst character is gonna go to none of them because, well, none of them really deserve it. They're all great characters. Every character adds something to the story. There's no random characters that add nothing. A lot of movies have that, just background characters that are there for just kind of no reason other than to get killed. But all these characters made sense. They made sense being there, and they made sense as part of the story. There was no random, background characters, so that's why nobody's gonna get the worst character this time. The best kill in the movie is gonna go to Marion, obviously. Who else would I give it to? The worst kill, unfortunately, is gonna go to the private investigator, because it kinda looked dumb, him falling down the stairs. He didn't fall down the stairs, and it was obvious, we could tell. It didn't show him anywhere, it just showed him falling back. It was just a super close-up on his face while he sort of falls backwards a little bit. No graphic, nothing like that at all, there's barely any blood. So that's why this gets the worst kill. It just doesn't look that good. The most iconic bit in this movie would probably be Marion's death, but since I've chosen that for so many other awards so far, I'm gonna give the most... iconic bit award to the monologue at the end. That monologue was insanely creepy, as well as that smile at the very end. Oh, so iconic. The dumbest moment is a super tough one because this is a great classic that I love from the beginning to the end. But if I was gonna give a dumbest moment, I'd probably give it to the investigator's death because, as I said before, it just doesn't look good. It looks really weird. It's just kind of a super close-up of him falling down the stairs, and it doesn't look good at all. If he got a more elaborate death, like some of the deaths in the second film, then the award would definitely not be going to this. But since it's not that good, I guess I'm gonna have to give the dumbest moment to this. We end our awards with the best character, who is, well, he's gonna go to Norman. Anthony Perkins plays him so well. Just the innocence in him. And the sort of eeriness, but not really. That's the kind of vibe that you get from him. And it's perfect. He makes this movie. Him and the awesome score is what elevates this movie to really the next level. So I'm gonna give the best character to Norman/Norma Bates. And that is end of awards ceremony. Thanks for watching my walkthrough on Psycho, the first ever black and white movie that I've ever done. And this movie is just insane. I love it so much, so iconic. There was really none other that I could do besides this. I'm thinking of some other ones. I think my next one is going to be another black and white movie, but you'll have to stay tuned to see what that is. So until then, thanks for watching, so goodbye, and good night, bang!